This is a presentation from the FE-FC Holden Car Club of New South Wales that was made to attendees of the 12th FE-FC Holden Nationals. The next Nationals will be in 2010, hosted by the FE-FC Holden Car Club of New South Wales. We'd like to tell you a little bit about what we're planning for the event, but let's start at the start. There have been many Holden heroes in the history of Australian touring car racing. Scaife, Kelly, Longhurst and Lowndes are household names of the modern era. In the decade before, the heroes were Murphy, Gardner, Jones, Percy, Richards and of course Larry Perkins. Go back further and the names Colin Bond and Peter Brock in the Holden dealer team are the stuff of legend. With 9 Mount Panorama victories to his name, it is a record unlikely to ever be relinquished by Peter Perfect. Go back still further, and you have characters like the Gagan brothers, Des West, Bruce McPhee, Jack Myers and Bob Holden. And before that? Well, there isn't a before that. That's not to say there wasn't some touring car racing, but the Touring Car Championship started in Australia in 1960 at a 3 3/4 mile public road circuit in the town of Orange called Nublar, a name derived from the same Aboriginal word as the local Mount Canobolas, meaning Twin Peaks. It opened in 1953 and closed in 1962. In 1960, it was home to the very first Touring Car Championship, where in an action-packed race, the Jaguars of David Mackay, Bill Pitt and Ron Hodgson took out the honours, followed by a variety of Holdens in every place from 4th to 10th. It had already been established as the fastest circuit in Australia, with a lap record of 105 miles per hour, 15% faster than Mount Panorama. Reg Hunt did that in 1956, in a Maserati. And apart from the Holden driving legends who raced it, many other famous Australian drivers spent their earliest time behind the wheel of a race car at Nublar, like Sir Jack Brabham, Bob Jane, Stan Jones and Larry Perkins' father Eddie Perkins, who famously won the 55 Red X Round Australia trial. In a piece celebrating its 40th anniversary, Modern Motor described Nublar like this: "Only by seeing it can you appreciate the challenge of riding this monster, unfenced and girt by trees, over crests and broken edges and a bridge barely 6 metres wide. Only by driving down the 2.4 kilometre Hospital Straight can you appreciate the courage of defying the looming windsock corner to nail a flying 8th mile at 162 miles per hour, as Hunt did in his Maserati. There is as much to be learned from walking an old track as driving it. Brandy Corner underscores this. The only part of the circuit no longer open to the public or upgraded with modern hot mix, it obliges you to walk on all that remains of the original surface. Thin, coarse, broken, and despite the lichen, brutal." Max Stahl, who drove in that first race and went on to edit Racing Car News for decades, recalls, "The radius, the dip, Mrs. Mutton's corner, they tell of another time and use, and unlike Catalina, signs exist to tell their story. They are in Sir Jack Brabham Park, dedicated to be one of the many luminaries who race there, among them world champions and international drivers. This photo shows Leo Gagan's 48 leading Bill Daly's 48 through Airfield Corner. Daly's mechanics that day were Kevin Bartlett and Frank Kleining, neither of them yet old enough to hold a racing licence. That first touring car race nearly ended in disaster. With 5 laps left to go, this is what remained of Roy Sawyer's car after it nosed into the inside bank and rolled. Ken Miller burned out the brakes of his Holden trying to stop and damaged his roof on the bumper of Sawyer's upturned car. Drivers had to get out of cars to push the various wrecks far enough off the road to allow them to continue. Amazingly, the worst injury in that accident was suffered by Des West, who burned his hands restarting his 48 215 after helping Ron Sawyer out of his wreck, and yet he still managed to finish the race. And Nublar is still there, and every so often the Nublar Classic Car Club revisit the circuit, race around it and display their cars on Sir Jack Brabham Park. 2010 will be the 50th anniversary of touring car racing in Australia, and the 13th FE-FC Holden Nationals will be a celebration of Holden's racing history, held in the historic Colour Town where it first started. Entrants from all over Australia will converge on inland New South Wales home to thriving wineries and famous for its apple orchards, to participate. Nublar, the birthplace of Australian touring car racing, will be the site of the National Show and Shine. One of the official functions will be held at Turner's Vineyard Conference Centre, and we expect this will be the most popular accommodation venue. It has about 40 rooms of various sizes and can accommodate 160 people. Situated just out of town, it has acres of open space for parking of vehicles and trailers. We've also identified several others as being appropriate, such as the Ambassador, situated just a short distance from Turner's. This has apartment-style self-contained accommodation, and there are about 45 rooms suiting 2 to 6 people. For those who prefer to be in the centre of town, near shops and services, there is the Country Comfort with around 40 rooms, the Kalula Motor Lodge with off-street undercover parking for all guests and 60 rooms in a variety of sizes. There is also the Oriana, a Best Western and 2 caravan parks in town, offering accommodation alternatives to suit any budget. So what's planned for the weekend? The town of Orange offers everything you could want as a motoring enthusiast, as well as plenty of entertainment if there's only so much heritage motoring you can take. Events will commence midday Friday with an optional cruise to Lake Canobolas, which is not far from the town and a pretty spot to unwind. And on Friday night there will be the traditional welcome to be held at Turner's Vineyard. Saturday morning we'll see the show and shine at Sir Jack Brabham Park, preceded by a lap of the Nublar circuit. From the racetrack, a courtesy bus will shuttle members back into town or to the Botanical Gardens, the Adventure Wonderland Children's Park and other attractions. Dinner will be held at the Orange Bowling Club on Saturday night. Sunday morning will commence with a vehicle display in the centre of town on Robertson Park and surrounding streets, which will be blocked off for the occasion. Following this, the official cruise will take in some tourist sites in the Orange District, before returning to Wade Park for lunch and the traditional games events. That evening we'll see the culmination of the 13th Nationals with the official dinner and awards presentations. This will be held at the Orange Function Centre, a 50s vintage venue that seats over 500 people. Bus services from the motels to the function centre and back are being planned. And the 13th Nationals will finish on Easter Monday, with participants departing Orange for Bathurst and Mount Panorama for an opportunity to drive your FE or FC around the famous circuit, as well as visit the National Motor Racing Museum before continuing on home. Obviously, some of these plans will be subject to change, but that is the basic itinerary. More information will be posted on the Nationals website as we race towards Easter 2010. We hope that you will join the FE-FC Holden Car Club of New South Wales to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Australian touring car racing in Orange. Thank you for your time.